Okay, so now we're going to talk about developing medication formulas. So you're all doing this currently with your compounding project. Some of these problems are going to be very similar to some things we did last week, as well as to some of the concepts we've already covered this week so far. So you really just kind of have to think about these problems critically to figure out how to solve them. So sometimes we are given a brand new order in which we're going to have to calculate a formula to use, maybe based on a recipe that we already have. So remember, our master formula is the recipe that can be followed by anyone to make a compound here. So let's take a look whoop, at some of our examples here. So developing a medication formula. Number 11, how much hydrocortisone powder and how much eucerin cream should be combined to make the following prescription? 60 grams of a 2.5% hydrocortisone cream. So here we have a hydrocortisone powder and a eucerin cream. So this hydrocortisone, that is a pure ingredient. So that is 100% ingredient. Now, I had a station set up just like this in the lab last week, if you remember. So let's imagine that we have a container of our hydrocortisone powder, and we have a container of our eucerin. So we need to make 60 grams total of a 2.5% cream. So let's think back to last week. What do we know about a 2.5% cream? Well, we know percentage strength, you can always write that as X over 100. In this case, we're making a cream. Both of our ingredients are in grams. So this would be 2.5 grams of hydrocortisone in every 100 grams of cream. Now, we need to make 60 grams total. And it's saying how much hydrocortisone powder would we need? So you need to be able to recognize where the 60 grams would fall into on this side of the equation. We need to make a total of 60 grams. So the 60 grams of cream should go on the bottom. And we're looking for how much hydrocortisone powder. So we're looking for grams of hydrocortisone. So our X has to be on top here. Now we can solve for X. So 60 times 2.5 is 150. And then we're going to take that divided by 100. So X gives us 1.5 grams of hydrocortisone powder. Now, to find our amount of eucerin, remember, we're making a total of 60 grams, and we know that we already need 1.5 grams of our hydrocortisone powder. So the difference between your total and your active is always going to equal your solvent. So with that information and what we've covered so far, solve for how many grams of eucerin cream would be needed to make this compound. And then after you have done that, you can move on to number 12. So number 12 here, we're going to prepare 4 grams of a 0.6% menthol and 0.8% phenol in petrolatum. So in this case, the petrolatum, that's our base ingredient or our solvent. And we have now 2 different active ingredients. So I want you to imagine we have menthol powder, pure menthol powder, pure phenol powder, and also petrolatum. So the first question asks, how many milligrams of menthol are needed? So for this first question, I don't care about the phenol right now. All I care is that I'm making 4 grams of a 0.6% menthol ointment in this case. So start with what we know. We know that we need 0.6% menthol. Anytime you see a percentage strength, you can always write that over 100. So 0.6 over 100. Now this is, I'm making a total of 4 grams in petrolatum, so I know this is an ointment. So I know both of my units have to be in grams. So I have 0.6 grams of menthol in every 100 grams total of ointment. Now I'm making a total of 4 grams, and I'm solving for how much menthol do I need. So I know that my X has to be on top because I'm solving for menthol, and I'm making a total of 4 grams, which would go on the bottom here. So now I can solve for X. So 0.6 times 4 gives me 2.4, and then I'm going to take that divided by 100, which gives me 0.024 grams. Now my question says how many milligrams of menthol are needed. So I need to convert this into milligrams. So going from grams to milligrams, I'm going to move my decimal 3 places to the right, or just multiply this by 1,000. So 1, 2, 3, that gives me 24 milligrams of menthol. So now, using A as a reference, I want you to solve for how many milligrams of phenol are needed. Don't forget, we're looking for milligrams. So once you do your conversion, you're going to have to convert into milligrams. Once you find your amount of phenol, then you should be able to find out how many grams of petrolatum are needed. Because remember, we always take our total minus our active. That's going to give us our solvent. But remember, we have 2 active ingredients here. So you're going to have to take your total, which remember, we're preparing a total of 4 grams, minus both of your active ingredients here. That's going to give you your solvent. Now, your active ingredients are going to be listed in milligrams. They are asking for how many grams of solvent are needed. So you're going to have to know how to do conversions there as well. So go ahead and solve number 12 now before you move on to number 13. Okay, number 13. A physician orders 360 grams of a 4% hydrocortisone cream. The stock medication on hand is 15% hydrocortisone cream. How many grams of the stock cream are needed? Well, just take a look at this problem for a second. What method does this problem look like that we have reviewed so far this week already? We're ordering an amount, 360 grams of 4%, and in stock, we have a 15% concentration. So this is very similar to what we did at the beginning of the lecture. This is a simple dilution problem. Remember, we always set our order equal to our stock. So our stock here, we're looking for how many grams of stock. So we're looking for our Q1. Our stock concentration is 15%, and our desired quantity is 360 grams. Desired concentration is 4%. So based on the simple dilution lecture, you should be able to solve for Q1 here. And then you should be able to determine how many grams of base cream are needed as well. So go ahead and solve number 13. And then I would like you to work on practice problems C. So far, if you've made it through all of the lectures up to this point, you should be able to go through practice problem C. I think there's only 2 questions to answer on C because we're just doing the evens. So go ahead and work through that before you go on to the next lecture video.